Well, what's going on, everybody? It's your boy C-Zar, and we are talking about XRP today. Hit that like button, you guys. Subscribe if you want to see more content like this, and let's get into it. Here we are, up 6.7% from yesterday's open. It is the 20th of February right now. We're down a little bit today to start the day off at $2.70 here. That's a very nice move. It's a very nice move indeed. I want to see, did it come with any volume? Not really. I mean, sure, a little bit, but what about on the USDT chart maybe? Not really any volume. And that's okay, right? I mean, it'd be nicer if there was some volume, but I think where you are in the range right now, it doesn't really dictate that. You don't need that. However, if we want to make this a real thing, we need to get some continuation, right? If that bullish engulfing candle is to merit some growth, we need to see some growth rather immediately, right? So today we cannot give this back. We need to keep going higher. If we look at the fibs here, from a high to a low, we came all the way up above the golden ratio right there at the 618 is the golden ratio. We came right up above it into the golden zone, came down, found support at the 382, back into the golden ratio, finding support at the 0.5. This is still constructive behavior. It's a bit abnormal, I will say. Anytime that you go into the golden ratio 3 times, it's a bit abnormal. Generally on the second time, that is whenever you break through and you pass. But because this day here, this was just such a quick bounce, maybe that doesn't even count as the first pass. Maybe that's the first pass and that's the second pass. Either way, whatever. The fibs look good. This is a nice phase of support that you're finding. I like your daily RSI. There is a bit of concern, I suppose, with the daily RSI. The only concern there is that you are in this kind of downward sloping trend in the daily RSI. It seems that you're at a point where you're either going to continue the trend down or you're going to break out of it. I don't suspect that a move down would be too significant. I don't think it'd take you to new lows relative to any of these lows here, just maybe something below like 240, potentially even below 230. It's very possible. But with how productive you're being on your fibs, I'm more inclined to believe that you actually go to the upside. Generally speaking, when you find resistance at the 60, you kind of ping pong between the 40 and the 60, and you couldn't even do that. You got below the 50 just barely, and then right back above it the next day with this bullish engulfing candle. So I really do think, and finding support in previous areas of resistance. So I think you do want to move up. Probably, the end of the week here is this day, right? So I think by this day you'll be up at 296 to 315, right? Something in that area, potentially even just above $3. I really do like this 316, 315 area. So whether it's by the end of this week or the very early beginnings of next week, I think you're on your way. I do think that that's where you're going to. Let's just look at the 4-hour time frame and confirm that real quick, okay? Let's see, 4-hour RSI. Yeah, the 4-hour looks, it actually is pretty volatile. It looks good where you're at, but you're kind of volatile. I like it. I like it, right? You're getting oversold. You're seeing lower lows in your RSI, right? Low here, lower low, relatively speaking. And you've got higher lows in the RSI. That's good. That's good stuff. You're getting oversold, and all you're doing when you're getting oversold is finding support at previous areas of resistance where you once got overbought, right? And that's not necessarily how you should look at it. It's not always that cut and dry, but whenever your weakest readings are providing higher lows and your strongest readings are breaking you out, that's a good thing. And I do think on the 4-hour, it looks like you want to reach for this overbought zone. That doesn't mean you have to reach there. You could reject a little bit and then come up. Maybe the first half of this day is a little bit down, and then to finish the day going into tomorrow, and then tomorrow itself we go up. But I do suspect that we're ultimately on a path that will take us above this high here from this low. So if we come lower at all, I don't suspect it to be lower than this low. And I think that by the end of the day, we'd start to move up again, potentially probably closing today green. If not, tomorrow we definitely would break above this high. I don't know how clear that was, but essentially I'm thinking that by the end of today, we will be above $2.83. I think we'll be above there. We're at 270 now. Oh, I like that, man. Yeah, I like that. You're finding support at your golden ratio right now after just breaking above it. Okay, but that's a wicked rejection off the 786. Let's see. What's your 1-hour time frame look like? You look really good in your 1 hour, man. If you go lower, okay, so now we have a little metric to go off of. If you go lower from here, the lowest I would expect, the true lowest I would expect to be 255, but genuinely I think 260. Something between 255 and 265 with 260 right in the middle there. That would be the kind of area that I expect you to go. If I really had to guess, just looking at the price, probably 265 to 260. That's probably where you would go if you go lower. But if not, finding resistance at the 786 and then finding support immediately at the golden ratio is actually a very bullish thing to do. All you need to do to confirm this is essentially get back up to these highs, get above the 786. If you do that, then by the end of the day, there's no doubt in my mind at all, you'll likely be above that you would be above 283, potentially even above $3. Instead of by the end of the week, man, you might be above it tomorrow or something like that. But you do look like you want to move higher. You definitely do. Let's look at the Let's look at the weekly time frame now. Going from, I want to take, yeah, January 2018 to March of 2020's high to low. You're consolidating right above this 886 here. Looking good, right? If you were to go lower than anything that I expect you'd go, you know, the lowest I think would be about 220, 225, 230, something like that, right? But I don't even think you go below 260 personally. If you do, that's kind of the lowest expectations you could have. But whenever you do break out higher, whenever we do break out of this range that we're consolidating in, right below the current all-time high, between the all-time high and the 886. Actually, that's not the all-time high, is it? You actually broke above it over. Yeah, you did. So not the current all-time high, but the high of this pattern. I would still say this is more of a high, right? These highs over here, they're fake outs. They're not really. It's like you broke out, but not really. It was a fake out, right? And you came back down. You acted like a fake out. So from this high to this low, whenever it is time to truly break $3.32, when it's truly time to break that, you'll see prices at an $8.37 level, if not $27.16. I'm thinking you go more somewhere in this range. It's very possible, and I mean, obviously, by the end of the cycle, I think that you do see 27 and beyond probably. But by the end of March, April, early April time, by the end of this next phase up, right? Here was your last phase up. You consolidated by the next one. I think you'll be somewhere in this area. It's the same old song and dance we've been singing and dancing to, right? If we look at this thing, I want to look at it on the ribbon real quick, looking at the daily time frame. You're finding support. Yesterday closed. That's nice. We probably should have started off with this. That's actually a really nice look. Finding support on a closing basis right on the red line and then closing the immediate next day up above this yellow line here. What you need to do is just keep going, man. If you close today red, just don't close it below 265. You can go below 265, right? We have price targets down there. You can go below 265, but don't close below it. Close the day here if you were to close red, but ideally you would close green and start moving higher. If you can do that, if you can get above this high, if you can start closing green and moving higher, you're going to expand this ribbon. And anytime the ribbon goes from a contraction to an expansion, it tends to promote a lot of growth, right? Here, this is a bullish cross, so that might be why. But I mean, here, for example, your ribbon started to expand. That's kind of during consolidation. That might not be the best example, right? Something like this, right? You're consolidating, contracting the ribbon, but to the downside. Once you start to expand, you cross below the yellow line here. Once you start to expand down, that's whenever things really start to pick up to the downside. Here, you cross instead of below the yellow line, you crossed. Whoop, that's not what I meant to do. Crossed above it, and all we got to do is get continuation, keep closing above it, get this to expand, and likely we will see targets at new all-time highs, price expiration, by the end of the month, if not certainly the first week of March. That's my expectations, right? I really do think here on the 20th of February, we're about 10 days or less, maybe even 5 days or less from seeing new all-time highs for XRP. It seems like the crypto markets are in a bit of a slumber right now. It seems like things are boring and people are getting very discouraged and impatient. This is generally the time whenever we look for things to get rather wicked. But before they do, sometimes this discouragement, sometimes this impatience-ness, what we do is we have a last little flash crash shakeout to validate some people that are worried, right? And then they panic sell at the true low, and then that's whenever we rip. We get people to maximize their shorts here, exit their longs, and then that's whenever we rip. So don't be surprised. Don't get caught off guard if something like that happens. I'm not calling for it to happen. I really do think that we're just going to continue to move up, but stuff like this happens, right? Oftentimes right before we're about to move up. So don't let that fake you out, right? Any kind of flash crash scenario, just treat it like a roller coaster ride, because that's essentially what it'll feel like if you don't sell. If you sell, it'll feel like a roller coaster ride that you weren't strapped into and you got bucked off of mid-ride and now you're scattered everywhere. Don't do that to yourself. Hit the like button. Subscribe if you want to see more content like this. This daily ribbon is killer, man. It looks really good. I like the 3-day ribbon too. And the weekly ribbon, of course, looks great as well. They all look good. Pointed to the upside. Very bullish consolidation phase. Very bullish what you're doing, breaking out of your overall pattern itself. I think sky's the limit. Really, 854 and beyond is where you're going to be by the end of March. I'm thinking something around $10 to $13. We'll see how it goes. 269 now. Double digits later. Hit the like button, subscribe. We'll see you on the next one. Take it easy. Bye.